I became a millionaire. So that's the difference between last year and this year. Community-wise, it's grown, so that's a big plus. So many different cultures, so many different religions, and they're just united as one, an alchemist.
The millionaires, they're just people. But what's really powerful is they're willing to lend a hand and say, hey, where are you going? What's your goals? Let me help pull you forward. And that's huge.
Walter didn't just help people, he referred me to a lead, which I made $100,000 last year. So I'm just here supporting him, saying, hello, what's up to my guy, Walter Amarelos.
You guys rock. The help, the knowledge, the different things that Gualta puts out there to help you level up. It's amazing. There's no community like that.
One of the biggest takeaways that I got was when Heidi mentioned this one line, and she said that becoming a millionaire is actually a symptom of who you already are.
The sooner you start, the sooner you'll get to where you want to go, and the sooner you'll have however much time left. Time is the one thing that we cannot replace.
This is a team, this is a family that says we're going to help you where you are, and we're going to get you to where we are. This program is amazing. It's like the family I never had.
So we're just going to make sure that some of our community in Orlando is aware of the situation and making sure that if there's anything you need, they're going to make sure that they're more than giving and more than aware, and if there's any financial costs, we'll make sure we cover it. Sound good?
So I'm the newest millionaire of the Alchemist group. I just had to get around the right people in the right environment with the right knowledge and get the right team. Investing is a team sport. It's not a solo sport. There's people that in this group that want you to succeed. They're going to help you. They're going to loan you money. They're going to give you resources. They're going to give you your staff to help you.
Hey realtors, this is super legit. You should come.
This is the best thing you can do for your future you, and your future self will thank you. You will meet the best people, you will become the best person. Give yourself a gift.
If you want more, be around the people that also want more.
There's other people around me, I'm surrounding myself with the right people, and that's giving me the biggest aha moment right now.
It's so valuable, and vice versa as well too. So I would recommend this event to anybody.
It really makes you want to just run out and implement everything.
Mitch Durfee, yeah, that he said you change your expectations for appreciation. Man, it was mind-blowing, just some powerful stuff.
If you're not a millionaire, you belong here. And if you are a millionaire, you belong here too, because you'll take it to the next level. Get your ass here!
It's pretty cool meeting everybody, learning a whole bunch of stuff. It's changing my mindset, definitely.
I've learned and unlocked a different power inside me that I can now use to pretty much accomplish any task, any obstacle.
Surround yourself by the right people, and I can guarantee you that if you put into it, it will give back to you.
Definitely, I advise you to come and change your life for the best.
Everybody in the community is so cool. They're so friendly, they're so welcoming, so inviting. Everybody wants to talk to you. Everyone wants to share their experiences with you. Everyone wants to know about your experiences, and they all want to help you. Everybody is holding hands and walking through the fire together. It's super cool.
Really top-notch people that attended the event, and so we're just very blessed to be invited and be a part of this 100 Millionaire Summit.
I was telling my friends that years ago, build your connections, and after a while I stopped building my own connections. So now I'm here rebuilding that, so I'm very proud of that, very happy about that.
You just have to come. You just have to trust the word to come. Just do it.
It's helped me refocus, re-energize myself. 100 Millionaire Summit will get you on the right train, on the right track, and you will get to where you're wanting to go faster and more efficiently than anybody else can get you there.
Let's give everybody a round of applause who was at last year's 100 Millionaire Summit. Welcome back, Alchemists. This is Wealth Principle 47. This is the 52 Weeks to Wealth. We've been traveling down this journey now for 47 weeks together, 47 principles on a mission to double our income and double our net worth. Show of hands if you're still down with the mission. It's okay to make more money this year. Excellent. One of the challenges with making money is we get distracted. There are things that come into our lives, people, ideas, strategies, businesses, problems, investment opportunities that can distract us and take us off track. But the 52 weeks to wealth are designed to get us back on track, to get us focused, to get us moving toward a means to an end. Show of hands if you are absolutely committed to helping more people with your own success. Excellent. So Wealth Principle 47 is the law of hyperfocus. Before we dive into it, let me talk about one of the problems that we don't solve or notice unless we start paying attention to this law. Have you ever noticed that you're racing towards financial success but getting nowhere fast? Has anybody noticed that you're hunting but not killing, not catching anything? In the beginning, it's because of a lack of focus, not knowing what the right thing to do is. In fact, when we say yes to somebody or something, we're usually saying no to something else. Who here has recognized that if you say yes, that means you also have to say no? So the law of hyperfocus gives us the opportunity to move into the right directions, but obviously without the other principles behind it, well, then all you know is focus on whatever's in front of you. Who here is tired of focusing on Facebook for 2-3 hours at a time? Has anybody ever had that wormhole of TikTok or YouTube or just staring at your phone? Sometimes it feels like you're there doing something productive, then afterwards you don't feel any kind of results. Who here has experienced that also? Show of hands if that's been something of your experience. Mine as well. So there are 5 reasons to focus on a thing. And we're going to talk about some of those challenges that will stop us from being successful. Here's the other damage to the wealth principle. 47 is a very dangerous wealth principle. This is not like the early 46. The early 46, when you focus on them, you get immediate results. And the results can most of the time always be good. With wealth principle 47, if you hyper-focus on the wrong thing, your results can be absolutely detrimental if they're in the wrong direction. Who here has ever focused on the wrong thing and gotten some very dangerous results? Excellent. So I want you, as we're going through this principle, I want to be very clear that it is your decision what you act upon. You are an adult. You are responsible for your results. So I'm going to ask that you pay very close attention to what we go through, and I want you to be very intentional about what you choose to focus on over the next few months. We only have a few wealth principles left. Wealth principle 52 will be at the 100 Millionaire Summit. That is why I showed that video at the beginning of this. That is our main premise. That principle is the most powerful of all principles. So before we dive into the law of hyperfocus, wealth principle 52 is to start over again. It is to sharpen the saw. It's to review everything that you've done over the last year, take those lessons and go back and sit down and really sharpen the skills, sharpen the things that need to be taken care of. Because right after the summit, we dive into wealth principle 1. Just think $1 million. And some of you will be thinking $1 million at, I make it in a year, or I want $1 million net worth, or I want to own $1 million worth of real estate or business. Some of you, my players, we're thinking, how do I make $1 million in 3 months? How do I make $1 million in 6 months? How do I make $1 million in a month? I have a friend who said, how do I make $1 million in a week? And although he hasn't gotten the answer, he's getting closer. He's getting closer. There's people that I know that are good friends of mine that are getting $2 million a month, actually pulling this in, actually be able to run this in their business. So think $1 million, just all we do is we change the timeline. Some of you are making $1 million over the next 20 years. Some of you are making $1 million over the next 40 years. Some of you are making over 10 years. If you're earning $100,000 a year, you're making $1 million over 10 years. Show of hands if you understand wealth principle 1 is a lot of fun, especially because it comes after wealth principle 52. So there are 5 problems, 5 challenges that will stop you from moving forward in hyperfocus that could be dangerous. One of the challenges is one of the obvious signs, before we go into the challenge, one of the obvious signs is reduced productivity. If you expect a result and it's not happening, it could be because not enough attention is being interspersed into that result itself. So if you're moving forward and let's say you're a real estate investor and you want to get more deals closed, show of hands if you'd like to close on a deal this year. You'd like to get more opportunities? All right. Not as ambitious as I bet the next question will get you more. Who would like to have more capital to close on more deals? More money in the bank, more capital investors? Excellent. So we'll go in that direction. And I may be doing a webinar coming up called Get the Money. Show of hands if you'd be interested in Get the Money. It's a capital raising program. It's just to teach people how to build relationships and get people to say yes. Excellent. Cool. If you are going out and you're not getting the yeses or the soft commitments or the hard commitments that you're looking for in capital raising or in finding deals, it could be that you're not putting in enough offers. You're not making enough requests. You're not messaging enough people. You're not hyper-focused, especially if you're saying, I'm really busy. I got so much time. I don't have time to call that investor, to send that email, to submit that offer. Show of hands if you've ever been guilty of this. Reduced productivity is a sign that we're not hyper-focused. Number 2, missed opportunities. They're very close. Who here knows you've missed millions of opportunities over the last few years of your life? Millions of dollars of opportunities, millions, 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 millions of dollars of opportunities. I know because nobody on this call is a billionaire yet. So I know you've even missed billion-dollar opportunities by not knowing what they are, or by not taking the correct and appropriate action to get there. Show of hands if there are billionaires younger than you, except for Joe. Joe's very young. But there are billionaires younger than you. Every single one of us, we know that they exist. So we've missed out on opportunities. Hyper focus on the right opportunities will increase your likelihood of getting them. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Increased stress. A dead serious, deadly dangerous sign that you are not hyper focused in your business is that your stress levels are going up. If you're finding things are becoming more difficult for you to bear, more emotional, if you're finding yourself losing your control in a situation or snapping at people, or you find yourself just becoming ill or sick, or you just don't even want to get up and out of bed, that could be an impact or a result of not being hyper-focused on the right activity. So if you're sensing a increased stress or relentless multitasking, these are signs that you are not focused. Show of hands if you've ever experienced stress. Excellent. Another sign or symptom of not having focus is ineffective decisions. Rushed, poorly thought out decisions can lead to financial setbacks you can't afford, and that leads back to the third one, which is stress. So if we're unfocused, if we're feeling indecisive or making ineffective decisions, it is usually because of a lack of focus on the correct task, on the correct thing. Number 5 is snail's pace progress. That's kind of how I started the whole call out. My easiest symptom, the easiest symptom for me to know, the diagnosis, because I believe in diagnostic selling, diagnostic operation of my companies, diagnostic operation of my mission to help millionaires build more millionaires. Show of hands are committed to building millionaires. While, during, after you've become a millionaire yourself. Absolutely. Let's give each one of you a round of applause. I love and appreciate you for your commitment to serving others. That makes you more than just a person. It makes you an alchemist, somebody who's willing to transform themselves, go through the struggles, go through the fire, so that you can then transform and transfer that knowledge to others. It's a powerful mission you've chosen. Snail's pace progress, if your wealth building journey feels like a crawl, when it should be a sprint towards prosperity, when you're watching others like sprint past you, it could be that you're not focused on the right activities. And there's always the ability to justify and say, oh, well, it just takes time. It just takes time. Who here's seen somebody explode in a shorter period of time than them? I want to talk about the demon, the real demon here. It's analysis paralysis. The real enemy is thinking, overthinking, and evaluating the same things over and over without coming to a conclusion. Hyper-focus is how you destroy that enemy. Who here is ready to get rid of procrastination, ready to get rid of analysis paralysis? Excellent. It takes understanding the law itself. So what is hyperfocus? And I was talking to the group before. There are 4 people that I think we can all agree are very good at hyperfocusing. The first, being probably the most popular right now, is Elon Musk. Who's heard of this guy? Familiar with what he owns? You can drop in the chat. What are his businesses? Drop 1 or 2, whatever you've got. Drop in the chat. What does this guy do? What is Elon Musk? Who is he? What does he represent? You could use one word, use one of his companies, but drop in the chat. What is he known for? What does he do? Excellent. SpaceX, right? Tesla, Solar City. He's got a couple of different businesses. Now he owns X, Twitter. Hyper focus. Very focused. I'll share the story about Elon before we move on to the other billionaires. Elon, first, he built a company that took him 4 years. It was called Zip2. And this company took him 4 years to build. One company, all he did. Then he sold it. And then he moved on to his next company. His next company started off being called X, and then it shifted into being called PayPal. And PayPal, when he sold that, he walked away with $100 million profit. Show of hands if you don't mind walking away with $100 million. Here's what's interesting for you to write down. 4 years again. 4 years in one business, sold it. 4 years in the next business, sold it. Then, in tandem, took all of his money He put it into a company called Tesla, another company called SpaceX, and he put a little bit into another company called Solar City. Now, those companies have been running 20 years. Tesla, he did not manage himself. He had somebody else managing Tesla. Solar City, he did not manage himself. He had his brother managing Solar City. With SpaceX, he was much more involved in that particular company, but he started really hyper-focusing in Tesla for about 4 years. And then he just became the guy who showed up and did things. And now he is one of the richest men on the planet. Show of hands for familiar with this guy, this Elon Musk. Awesome. Another one is Bezos, Jeff Bezos, known for probably every single one of you has ordered something from his website, Amazon. And then also he got into a company called Blue Origin. Interestingly enough, another space-based project, another project going into space. Another gentleman you may be familiar with is Mark Zuckerberg. Many of you are on Facebook right now. Most of the time with me, that's where we communicate. And if we're not, maybe we're communicating on his other platform that he owns, Instagram or WhatsApp. And now Threads, which I think nobody's on ever. Anybody download Threads yet? No, because it's basically Twitter. So the billionaires seem to have two big things that they like to do. They like to buy software platforms that nobody likes to use, and they like to go into space. But what they're very good at, another one that I'm really impressed with. By the way, who here is blown away by some of the success these guys have pulled for themselves? Absolutely. It's fascinating because they hyper-focus on one thing. And it's a very clear talent that Bill Gates stated a while back. And it is the fact that they focus on their talent. They focus on their hiring. They focus on what and who they're hiring and what they're hiring them to do. And they focus on a singular task their company's supposed to do. When you talk to Elon Musk, he says moon. He says Mars. He says we're going to Mars. That is our singular hyper-focused task. When you talk to Mark Zuckerberg, he says community. We're connecting the world. That's our goal. We're going to connect the entire planet. When you talk to Bezos, he's talking about the fact that he wants you to be able to think and receive. He's the law of manifestation. He's the law of attraction. That's what his goal is to see customers receive what they want faster. That's always the hyper focus of Amazon. So in your business, since we don't have Doug McGurk here today, we're going to do our exercise without him, but thinking of him the entire time. I want to give you, before we do the exercise, let's do some action steps. Show of hands if you like to take action every single week so you can move forward powerfully. Excellent. Thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to actions, and actions lead to results. Without action, action is the bridge. It's what brings everybody together, brings what you desire. By the way, if you have a thought, a dream, show of hands. If you have a thought, a dream, a desire, something that you want to be, a person you want to be, a thing you want to do, people you want to help. Oh, Roger Andrews, Boring Company. Yes, another one. If you have a dream or a passion or a purpose in your life, then I want you to write it down on a piece of paper right now. The thing you know for certain you will do whatever it takes to get to. That is your thing. That passion, that drive, that purpose. As you're thinking about it, we're going to go into these next 5 steps to implement the law of hyperfocus. I'm going to ask that you evaluate in your soul, in your mind, using your most powerful tool, the most powerful resource that was given to you at birth, your mind, which, by the way, people seem to not appreciate the things that they were given at birth. They seem to disregard things that they have familiarity with. In fact, there's a statement, familiarity breeds contempt. Who's heard this before? Familiarity breeds contempt. So when you know a thing, you'll tend not to like to do the thing. When the thing is familiar to you, you'll tend to dissuade yourself from doing the thing that is most familiar. Unfortunately, success, in order to be successful, must become boring. It must become extremely routine, extremely monotonous, extremely systemic. So most people can never become successful because they're so addicted to new, different. In Alchemist Nation, we're committed to doing the same thing over and over until you're rich, which involves the 52 weeks to wealth. Continue coming every Saturday until you're successful. And then when you're successful, bring other people to the 52 weeks to wealth so that they can become successful. So fans, if you understand, it's about showing up. Thoughts become feelings, feelings become actions, actions create results. What we think about is your right. The thing you just wrote down, that is your right to have it. But if you've ever had a cup in front of you, you understand it's yours. It's your right. It's your ability. But if you do not take that cup to your lips, you will die. If you don't drink, if you don't consume H2O, at some point you will die. Show of hands if you've ever drank water. You have to, right? Kept you here this long. So if you've got the ability to receive and you don't, it's your fault. True or true? Thoughts are your desires. If you've been given the desire, it's your right. It's your ability. But it doesn't guarantee your success. Feelings, how you feel about what you're going to do, that's your energy. The more I feel thirsty, the more I'm going to want to go get that drink. The more I feel like it's not important, the less likely I'm going to reach out my hand and pick up that cup. So feelings are your energy. They're that emotional component that you have to nurture. You have to listen to. Sometimes it's wrong. Sometimes our feelings make us do the wrong thing. Who here has ever felt that before? That your feelings made you lash out, maybe react improperly? That wasn't the feeling's fault. That was our thoughts. Because thoughts decide how we feel about something. So if we can change our thoughts around a subject, we can change the feelings that are released. And now can't do it in the moment. Don't let me convince you that that's possible. But that's what the 52 weeks is about. It's changing how we think about things so that when our feelings come up, they're the right feelings to empower us to go do something. Show of hands if you've been empowered to do something in the past and it worked out for you because you took the right action. Absolutely. So in moments of clarity, like we're having right now, you get to reframe your thinking so that you can have the right emotions, the right energy to go and do the tasks. And the law of hyperfocus will allow you to have more intentional moments in your life. Show of hands if you're committed to having more right moments than bad moments. Smart, very intelligent. All right, so as we're diving into this, again, if the thought is there, if you have a dream, it is yours, but you first must feel right about the actions. You must feel right about the actions you must be taking. So as we're going through this, I want you to write down your goal. Step one to getting hyper-focused is write down your goal. Define your financial objectives, both short-term and long-term, because clarity breeds focus. Doesn't have to be a big, long sentence. Just write down in 2-3 words what your big long-term goal is. And your homework for this week is to go and elaborate. Get that back. We've done goals many times in the 52 weeks. I want you to just go back and adjust, tweak. So write down your big goal. Get clear about it. Your homework for this week is to get super clear about it. Number 2, and this is dangerous. I told you, this is a very dangerous wealth principle. Prioritize ruthlessly. That word ruthlessly is in there for a reason. Some people, including yourself, will feel bad about this prioritizing in the beginning. Nobody will die, I assure you. All right? None of you are playing with missiles. None of you are racing cars. Chong is not on here. So make sure that you prioritize ruthlessly, identifying the high impact tasks that truly matter. Laser focus on these and let distractions fade in the background. This will be emotional, so you must process in thought before the activity happens, before the trigger occurs in your life. You must change the hook in your mind, your thoughts around the proper activities. If you've ever been to the gym before, the first time kind of sucks. Who here has been to the gym and remembers day one? There's no shame in day one if you got to start over. But day one, week 1, is the most painful week of them all. And then week 2, equally as shit. But week 3, it seems to get better. Week 4, it seems to get better. And by week 5, week 6, month 7, month 8, you start to have momentum. And before you know it, you just start saying things like, this is who I am. I get to the gym at 5 a.m. Show of hands if you know somebody like that. They said it. That's who they are, right? Okay. Prioritize ruthlessly. That's how you get to that state of just habit. Number 3, time blocking mastery. Time blocking mastery. Allocate dedicated blocks of time for undistracted work. Silence those notifications. Deep dive into improving yourself on a singular skill. There is for each one of you a very singular skill that once mastered, you become unstoppable. There's another word that we like to use around the house, undeniable. You become undeniably good at what you do. Mastery is another form of saying, you cannot deny my greatness. So time block for your self-improvement, for your very specific self-improvement on the very specific hyper-focused task, skill, ability that will give you leverage through every moment of your life. So for some of you, it may be meditation. For some of you, it may be leadership. For some of you, it may be the ability to hire people. It may be management skills. It may be Excel. For me, it was Excel at one point in my life. So it may be a different task, a different thing. But number 4 is mindfulness in action, being fully aware of the actions you are actually taking, incorporating mindful practices into your daily routine to enhance your presence and concentration. Stephen Beaver was talking to me this morning. We were talking about how we can improve how many people come to this year's summit. We were talking about how do we make sure that the people who would benefit most know about it. And the easiest answer was to have all of our coaches call everybody, but we have a database of 11,000 people. And so how do you in 30 days call 11,000 people? And so he and I were having this conversation, and I told him, I said, you know what we need to do, Stephen? Because he's the TMV guy. I was like, bro, we need to have no days off. So we need to, he said, well, what about the weekends? And I was like, well, I don't think they exist. We need strong ends, man. Like, we got to go all in. And he said, he said something to me that was really interesting. He said, this is like the rapids on a river when you just have to hyper focus in those moments or you die. And you just have to keep everybody else in the boat steering in the right direction because the rapids are coming at you so fast. The rocks are there. You have to pay attention. You have to protect your team and you have to protect yourself and you have to keep the raft together. And everybody has to be in a heightened state of reality for those moments as you're going through the rapids. And for 5 minutes, it's no big deal. But when the rapids continue, Dorina has a story when she was in Russia and she went out whitewater rafting. They don't do it like we do here. They go for a week. And she was for hours at a time, not like numb, can't feel her hands, can't feel her arms, but mind focused, adrenaline pumping to stay focused and keep herself and her team alive. And at one point she fell out of the boat into the water. And people do die in Russia on these rapids. So that's in the back of her mind. She's deathly afraid. And one of her team members, hyper focused, pulled her back in. The team instantly was aware of where she was, and they brought her back into the boat because of their commitment to each person's safety and to getting down this river together. Mindfulness can sometimes feel stressful. It can feel intense. It can feel like anxiety, but it can also be very pleasant and can be very peaceful. Be in the moment as often as you possibly can. That hyper-focused state is not stress. Sometimes it's excitement. Sometimes it's just awareness. Sometimes it's just being better. So mindfulness in action. When in action, be more mindful. And the 5th, and I believe this is the key to my success, personally my success. Not everybody looks to have what I have, but for those of you who do, accountability partnerships. I couldn't be here without it, and I won't get to where I'm going without it. Pair up with fellow wealth builders who share your goals. Keep each other on track and crush distractions together. The key to really getting to that next level, I believe, is human beings. And if you want to live to be 100, the centennials, they tell you the same thing. You got to volunteer. You got to be part of a community. You've got to contribute. You got to give back. Otherwise, you die. And if you have a spouse, if you do not find yourself a part of a community within 2 years of them passing away, you usually pass away. And if you have a job, there's a statement in the working world. If you remember, if any of you are still in the working world, remember this. They say, when you retire, you die. Who has heard this? Who's seen it? Who's seen somebody who is active, they stopped, they passed away. Accountability partnerships are the secret, not just to longevity, but also the secret to high net worth and feeling better about it. We just bought a deal in Decatur, Illinois that I would not have bought if it wasn't for my partners. Dead serious. Greg LeBlanc flew out there, made me commit to the deal because he said it's just so good. And he got on a plane, spent his time, spent his money, spent his resources. He's got a kid. He's got a son that he wants to spend his time with, but he jumped on a plane overnight. 10 o'clock, he texted me, so I'm getting on a plane. 7 o'clock in the morning, he traveled all day. I ended up in Decatur, Illinois. He lives in Boston. He works a very grueling job. And then Dorina, the Russian princess, pushed me again. She wired $145,000 to the attorney, hard, non-refundable deposit to close on the deal. that put me into a pressured spot of I've now got to fulfill on closing this piece of real estate, even though I'm 34 days away from the 100 Millionaire Summit, which is my top priority, as my hyper focus to make sure as many good people get there and get the support that they need and get the speakers that they need to hear and get the connections and the relationships that they need. I'm focused on that. But my partners brought me into a deal, which got me an extra $400,000 in equity. So let's give my business partners a big round of applause for pushing me. Number 5, accountability partnerships. Find them. So the law of hyper focus, how can you implement it this week? We're going to do a quick mindset reboot, if that's okay with you. Do I have permission to go a little bit into the mindset? Excellent. I don't have Doug's music, but that's okay because Facebook doesn't always like his music anyway. Sometimes it says it's licensed and I can't go someplace. So if you're driving, keep your eyes on the road. You're not allowed to participate. If you are not driving, then imagine yourself getting a little bit more focused. You can feel your eyes getting a little more comfortable with the state that you're at. If you feel more comfortable, you can turn your cameras off as we're going through this process. And I want you to visualize yourself in the space that you'd already written down, in the space and the place and the time of your goal received, in the wish fulfilled, in the community you've built, seeing the happy faces, seeing the results, feeling the connectivity of having created a space for others that they knew it could exist, but only believed because you showed up every day, because you did the work, because you put in the work yourself to develop. I want you to visualize that. Now, as we're in that space, I want you to start really thinking about how it feels to finally be a person who has a clear goal. I want you to re-inspect, look back on the last 3 years, look back in the last 5 years before you got to this goal. I want you to look at how impressive it was, how hyper-focused your actions were. I want you to see very clearly for a moment just how every day you looked at your goal, every day you wrote your goal down. That was your secret. One of your 5 cores to success was that you were very clear about your goal. You talked about it to everyone. And when somebody gave you advice, you reviewed, you analyzed, and you took the right decision to move forward so you could more quickly reach and attain your goal. When we look back at the last few years moving towards your goal, I want you to remember and pay attention to how you really prioritized ruthlessly, how you were willing to tell people no when it just didn't make sense, didn't move you forward towards your goals. Look back and remember how proud you were, how difficult it might have been, but how you accomplished this ability to identify whether this was right or wrong, the ability to choose to move forward with something or choose to leave it behind and cut it off entirely. Prioritizing ruthlessly. Notice now that that's a skill that you've had this entire time because you are living in the wish fulfilled in these few moments while we're doing this meditation. This is you clearly looking back from the future, looking back into the past and looking at how you were able to accomplish this task. I want you to notice now that you were very good at time blocking your mastery, time blocking your skill development, time blocking those things that you knew would move you forward. Feel for a moment a complete sense of clarity and how you always it. And as we continue to move forward with this visualization exercise, think about the actions that you took, that level of mindful action, that level of clear and intentional thought that was impressed upon every single moment that you had to make a decision. Think about what gave you the strength to do that. And as we're going through this next moment, keep in mind that the partnerships, visualize each one, visualize the people who are a part of the journey that you've been on. See them in your mind's eye, the connections you've had, the ways they pushed you forward, the ways they fulfilled on their side of the bargain, their accountability. And as you're feeling those connections with those people, those moments, that person that you are, feel for a moment a deep state of gratitude that this is who you get to be. This is the person that you have been. And now as we come back to the room, I'm going to count from 5 down to 1. And then when we get to 1, I want you to feel an instant sense of gratitude. 5 being the amount of energy that you feel every day. On a scale of 1 to 5, feeling that intense energy of life, living, giving, sharing, mind, body, spirit, relationships, and the healthy ego. 4, bringing yourself into a state of not just joy, but a state of accomplishment, gratitude, gratefulness for the things that you've already accomplished. 3, feeling that rush of adrenaline as you are on the rapids, you are on the river and you're pushing yourself through, noticing that every step, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, just keeps you moving forward. Feeling that number 2, bringing you back closer and closer to your reality, and noticing that it's not too far from where you actually want to be. 1, feeling so good, feeling and realizing you are number 1 in this world, in this future, and in this life. And opening your eyes, feeling a pretty intense feeling of accomplishment. Just knowing that you are now truly a hyper-focused human being capable of massive progress because you're capable of doing one thing at a time. Show of hands if you are a powerful human being. Excellent. I already knew that. Show of hands if you already knew that as well. Yes. Awesome. So this year we do have the 100 Millionaire Summit coming up, and every week we do have a book. Michael Shine is traveling this week. He is here in Florida. He's building his office. So the keeper of the books is not able to do this week's Wealth Principles book, which is The One Thing by Gary Keller. Show of hands if you have read The One Thing by Gary Keller before. Excellent. First to unmute gets to give us the book review of the week. Let's see who wants it. Maybe that, or I'll just call Mitch.
I mean, gee, I was trying to give people an opportunity. I hesitated, took a deep breath. I was like, seriously, no one's going to step up. I'm disappointed. I'm not going to lie. That's not the one thing you should have done. The one thing you should have done was unmute your mic. I'm sorry. I'm from New York.
Lesson learned.
Lesson learned. All right. The one thing. I mean, honestly, I'd be surprised if everyone in this room hasn't read this book. If you haven't, then climb out from under that rock that you're under and go and read it. The one thing touches on a lot of things that I think we've heard of in terms of like Pareto's principle and the 80-20 rule and all that. And I think people get different takeaways from it. But the general thing is, focusing on that one thing. For me, the 80-20 principle was the big piece of that book in terms of focus, because it made me realize, someone that's kind of a jack of all trades, that 80% of my problems are coming from 20% of the things I do, and vice versa. 80% of my success is coming from 20% of the things I do. So find those 80-20 synergies, so to speak, and, have the conviction to cut out the things that are causing 80% of your problems and really focus on the things that are the 20% creating 80% of your results. That was my personal takeaway from that book. Obviously, there's a lot more to it when he speaks about how to identify the one thing. He has the question that, what is the one thing such that if I do this, it will X, Y, Z. And that was the daily practice that Gary Keller did to help him find his one thing. So many different ways to go about it. But at the end of the day, like I said, just using the 80-20 principle will help you narrow down to that one thing that really is, the provider of more of your success. So just do that process and you should be all right.
Let's give Mitch Jaworski a round of applause. He'll be speaking at this year's 100 Millionaire Summit. He'll be sharing how he's buying real estate in Massachusetts, in a state where they say it can't be done, in a time where they say it can't be done. Mitch will be showing us how he's built his portfolio and gotten his business partner out of his job. Show of hands if it's cool to learn from the Scaredy Cat Guide to real estate investing. So it's a fantastic weekend that we got coming up. In fact, Dorina asked me to talk quickly about the tickets that are available. Jason, we'll do questions in just a minute, brother.
I didn't want to get off this. It was about the one thing. I didn't want to go too far.
Yeah.
It's a contrarian view that maybe you or anybody on this, on this could consider. There's a lot of money in that 20% that everybody ignores because everybody's focused on the 80%. I'll just leave it at Amazon solving the delivery problem of how do we get it to your house quick. That being said, yes, to grow 80% focus, but Elon and Amazon and these guys that are the billionaires, if you have the capacity to really drill down on that 20% problem, that's where the win is. That was my only observation.
Give Jason Centeno a round of applause. And Jason's been an investor in some of our deals in the past. So he's been around Alchemist Nation for a while. He teaches branding and he's also doing some Airbnb stuff. I'll be speaking at one of his local events coming up. He's a local host here in Tampa. So let's give all of our community leaders a big round of applause. All of our hosts, our community leaders, our volunteers. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, everything that you're doing. I noticed Mark and I noticed Brian are wearing the same shirt as me. We got the 100 Millionaires t-shirts on because we're coming back to the summit. We're 34 days away. Mitch's got 100 Millionaires, the OG original brand. So we're getting stacked up. We're getting amped up. These wealth principles, previously, we didn't have them designed the way they were. But this year, it's hyper focus, literally 34 days away from the summit. We got 30 days to hit your goals. I asked Arena yesterday, how long did it take us to buy those 35 units in real estate with $400,000 in equity? Show of hands if you'd like to know the number. The number was exactly 28 days from the point of offer accepted Greg on a plane to the point of closing, which was 2 days ago. We closed on, or it was yesterday. We closed on Friday, or we closed on Thursday. So 28 days. That's 6 more days than we have to see each other at the 100 Millionaire Summit this year. We could have closed that deal in 14 days had we not had an issue with our financing. Had the bank actually had one of my other properties closed at the same time it was supposed to, we would have easily closed that within 14 days. Show of hands if you understand these deals can happen faster. So we're not done. We got 34 days. If you haven't closed yet, that's okay. It's a sign that it's time to get hyper-focused. If you haven't found your deal, if you haven't increased your income, your turn right now is to make your story for this year's 100 Millionaire Summit. You're going to be in the room anyway. Who here would like to have a better story? Show of hands if you like to put the cross the T's. It's your time to dot the I's, to figure out what it's going to be. Some of you may be coming just to figure out what all this is about, just to see the community together. That's cool too. Some of you have a demand that you come back every year, stronger, better, and your life has gone in the opposite direction. I don't care. I just want to see you anyway. Right? We want to get together so we can recharge each other, so we can get ourselves to the next level. Not everybody is winning this year. That's not the point. The point is that everybody is in the boat, and sometimes somebody falls out. We got to pull them back in. Sometimes things go south. Sometimes things don't work out the way we wanted them to work out. As team members, as a community, it's our job to reach out of the boat and pull them back in, protect them, take care of them if they're down, if they get injured. Right? Not everybody is going to be slamming through this year, crushing it. Right? The year has brought some destruction. It's brought high interest rates. I've got friends who've lost properties. I've got friends going through foreclosure. Not necessarily in this community. We've had some people who recently told us they're losing 2 buildings. People who came to the summit last year, people who had big goals, people who had dreams. Me, Mitch, and Mike Shine are all desperately working with these 2 individuals to make sure that they move forward. They get themselves back on track. If they hadn't reached out to us, we wouldn't know. And that was my first tongue lashing they got, was like, what the F took you so long? You've been struggling for 9 months. You should have called me 9 months ago. Right? If we'd known 9 months ago, we could have really saved everybody a lot of money. And Mitch probably would have bought one of their houses cheaper because the opportunity would have been there. But this is the game. This is the game each one of us plays. You know, as a coach, for each one of you as parents, you have the ability to help your kids only as long as they request help, only as long as you identify that there's a problem out there. This year's 100 Millionaire Summit, Darina asked me to talk about the tickets. So we made some changes to the tickets. The VIPs now, Steven and Darina and Gary and Mark and Ron have been really amping it up, really pumping up the ticket itself. And so I have to tell you, the reason that people buy VIPs, it is not because the VIP ticket comes with cool, sick lanyards, which it does. It is also not because the VIP ticket comes with a sick hat, which makes everybody look cool because now it has the logo up there. And by the way, the logo is embroidered. So that's not the reason that people buy VIP tickets. It's not the sick backpack that I've been dragging around to the gym this whole past year, testing out different backpacks to see which one I like. I chose the one with zippers on it. That is not the reason that people buy VIP. Also embroidered, by the way, with Alchemist Nation on it. So one of a kind, can't get it anywhere sort of stuff. It's not the swag, right? It's not the cups. It's not the mugs that you can carry around to have your power juice in, your coffee, your mojo, hot or cold. It's not that swag that brings people into the VIP ticket. And we know it's not because they get to spend a whole day with me going through scaling strategies to get their business up and running to the next level. It's not because we're masterminding a day before the summit with the 25 other VIPs, exclusive, only 25 VIPs. That's not the reason people buy the VIP tickets, right? And I think most of you know, people don't buy VIP tickets just to sit in the front row and get high fives from me and get access to me a little bit sooner and faster. They don't do it because they get to have lunch with me. That's not the reason a person buys VIP tickets. Person buys VIP tickets. Oh, it's also not because they want to hang out with Vinny Chopra the night before the VIP dinner. It's not because they want to get in the limo with us and have that party and pull out the cameras and have these little like sick moments. That's not why somebody buys VIP tickets, right? They buy VIP tickets because I know something that you know, and they know something that nobody else knows. And maybe it's time for them to show it to people, is that they are a very important person. And sometimes you pay a little extra for a ticket to get treated like a very important person, because if you start doing it in small things, you'll start doing it in bigger things. Unfortunately, the VIP tickets are very affordable this year because Steven said, just sell them out now so we can start bragging about who the VIPs are. So we can start sharing who the VIPs are. So we can start promoting who our VIPs are in our social media. Start saying, look, this person's VIP. Are you going to meet them? Are you going to meet them? Are you going to meet them? And so the VIPs, the tickets now are $2,500 for a VIP ticket. Worth it alone, in my opinion, just to meet Vinny Chopra. Vinny will have a conversation with every single one of the VIPs. He will be having dinner with us all night long. He's hard to put to sleep. And it's one of the benefits, the leadership training, the scaling training, the conversation we'll be having on the Thursday before the summit will be designed so that when we do hit into the summit, into the room, you know exactly what you're doing there, who you're looking for, what kind of conversation you're having with them, how you're finding and building your team so you can also buy real estate out of state with other people's money and have a successful deal close without you being too involved in it. So fans, if you understand, the VIP ticket this year is ridiculous value. It's way more than it ever has been. And the executive ticket is pretty sick too. You can go to 100millionaires.com, 100millionairesummit.com and find out what's in it. It's 100mmsummit.com, or you can go to, actually, somebody can just drop the link. Who's got the link? Who's the fastest to get it? Would it be Roland? Would it be Brian Huffman? Is it Steven Bieber, Mitch Jaworski, Billy Ruda? I don't know. Which one of you is going to be able to drop the link faster? Boom! It's Brian Huffman. Let's give him a round of applause. My man, engineers, when you want something done, ask an engineer to get it done. That's who it is. All right, so this year, you can go check out the tickets to the summit. I can't wait to see everybody in person. As I've said before, 80-20 principle. This is hyper focus. For 3 days, we're going to be building your $1 million business plan. That is the intention. I want to set the intention now, be very clear about what we're doing at the summit. If you haven't made $1 million before, cool, excellent. Come, let's do it. If you have made $1 million before, let's do it faster. That's our goal. We're going to structure how to get you to double your income and double your net worth. Now you decide what you're going to do, but we're also going to give you the $1 million contract, the millionaire contract. This contract at the summit on day 3, the very last thing I do at 5 o'clock on Sunday, is we're going to go through a process where we sign a self-contract to become a millionaire. And in that self-contract, there's some very powerful wording. And I stole this from the healthcare industry. And in healthcare, health coaching, personal development, what they say is that a person who fills out a self-contract to lose weight has a 20% greater chance of losing the weight that they said they would in that contract. Show of hands if you're okay with an unfair advantage stolen from another industry. Absolutely. 20% chance of making sure that you increase your net worth, hit your millionaire goal. Also, the business plan we're putting together, studies have shown, not just within Alchemist Nation, outside other studies, Harvard has done this study, Yale has done this study. When you have a business plan, you increase your income by 34%. That is a statistical truth that when you have a business plan, the business increases their income by 34%. So when we're talking about Alchemist Nation getting together for 3 days, what do you think we're going to do? We're going to write a business plan. we're going to make sure we sign our millionaire contract. We're going to network. Day 2 is our networking. We're going to be networking hard. We're going to teach you how to network so that you meet the right people in a powerful way. This summit is unlike any other event. It's very similar to what we did last year, because last year we nailed it. Who was at last year's 100 Millionaire Summit and had an amazing experience? It's had an amazing year. All right, so let's give all our OGs a big round of applause. Almost exactly the experience, effectiveness of what you went through is what will be there, except a little tweak here and there. We've done a little changing, a little adjusting to make it slightly better, because it already works, so nothing has to change. But we've increased the quality of the speakers. We've increased the quality of their talks. Every one of the speakers has been leveling up this year, and we've increased the quality of the people in the room, because you'll be there this year. Show of hands, if you're going to be at this year's 100 Millionaire Summit, you already know. And so look around, people who were there last year. This is one of the major improvements. Each one of these souls that will be there, bringing their teams, bringing their knowledge, bringing their goals. This event is, like I said, the 1% of the year. 1% of 365 is 3.5. And we'll be together for 3.5 days. My favorite part of the 52 Weeks to Wealth is that I get to give free things away. So if you don't have a ticket to the 100 Millionaire Summit right now, go to yourmillionairepath.com and fill out your report so that you can get your 3-page Millionaire Path report and get yourself a free ticket to this year's 100 Millionaire Summit. Of course, general seating. So if you want to upgrade to executive, you want to upgrade to VIP, you're going to have to have a conversation with your soul and your pocketbook and pull out your credit card and slam it down to let everybody know that you are a very important person. Show of hands if you understand what VIP stands for. Awesome. So my favorite part of the day is the Q&A sessions. So without further ado, Stephen Bieber, if you can manage us some questions. And for Billy Ratter, who's wearing the Alchemist Nation shirt, let's give you a big round of applause. Love that. Yeah, what a great shirt.
Some food for thought to do some of these questions. Walter and I were talking about the rapids, and I would submit that everybody in your business right now is in the rapids. You are, oh my gosh, left, right. Well, you're saying, the rapids are coming. And here's why the Millionaire Summit is so great. Because you'll have a guide that'll say exactly the same words. Oh, the rapids are coming. See, they've been through it. He knows what to do. He knows where to turn left. You've got a team. Some of them have to paddle left. Some of them have to paddle right. Some of them have to pull back to get that turn sharp. But your guide, he's not worried at all. He's like, oh, this is going to be fun because I know which way we need to go. I know where the rocks are. I know what the problems are, the roadblocks are, all of that kind of stuff. So you're going there not to try and figure it out. You're going there because there's somebody that's already done it and has already figured it out for you. And so all you've got to do is show up. You'll hear me this. I'll give you just a little bit of what I'm going to be talking about. Opposites attract. I can be talking. This has happened before. And Walter, I'll be saying some stats and Walter will be like, and before I can finish what I'm talking about, he goes, you mean like this? He's got a freaking chart from the Excel spreadsheet. I'm like, I hate Excel spreadsheets. Love to look at them. But you're going to look left, you're going to look right, and you're going to look for opposites to be on your team. Not, birds of a feather flock together. Yes, you're on the same mission, but there's only one bird in the front that leads the flock, right? They switch because they get tired and they can take over, but there's only one at a time and everybody's in their formation. And that's the brilliance of the Millionaire Summit, is that they do that. When we say we want to build 100 millionaires that want to build 100 millionaires, it's because we're already giving back before we start. And we know that person is the same thing. And everybody there. So if you're on the fence, you'll be on the fence next year and the next year and the next year. So even if it's just general, you get to come in, you feel that, look left, look right, do the fist bumps, but that's what you're really there for. So where are you in the rapids right now in your business? And is there a thing that you would like to talk about and explore or try? Or do you have a deal out there that you like, oh my gosh, Walter's just closed in 28 days. I've been working on this for 3 months. He's been there. He's gone through he told me the other day, he's like, there's always a problem. Every deal. I can always tell if somebody's going to succeed because they get through the problems. There's always a problem with every deal, no matter how pretty it looks. There's always something that comes up. The rapids are there. But he's navigating through. It's like, all right, here we go. It's the rapids.
I'll share. My first 3 deals took 8 months and 10 months. First 3 deals, they were between 8 and 10 months back in 2008, 2012, 2013. Like, we're talking 8-month closings. Like, nobody remembers what short sales were like, but I do. And they were long ass closings and hard and sticky. And I almost lost the deal 3 or 4 times. Like, just crazy stress. But Q&A questions.
Yeah, put it in the chat down below if you don't want to sound it out. Where the rapids are for you right now, and
or we could actually do it differently. What are rapids you're seeing? Billy, you've been speaking around. Mitch, you've been speaking at some of the events as coaches. So what are the rapids you're seeing for other people? Go ahead. Yeah, Billy, man, you gotta raise your hand, bro. Just unmute the mic.
Just click that unmute, man. First off, I always like to start just so freaking appreciative. This community, Walter, Steven, Mitch, you guys are just, man, yes, I might be a speaker on stage, but dude, I'm here as a student. My mind gets blown every Saturday. I actually just shared that story at my event the other day, promoting the event. And they were like, man, I heard you're going to be on stage. I'm like, I'm going to be on stage. I'm going to give hugs and kisses because I love people. And then I'm going right back to my chair, getting my notebook out, putting the student hat on. And I'm like, I just can't wait. Like, I'm just getting giddy. But an observation that I had that I wanted to share, hence the hand raise, is that's exactly what we're doing, right? Like, and I talked about this with my wife the other day because I've been on this really killer fitness routine, and I promise this has something to do with business. And I'm running, very steady state, very slow, nice. I'm going for distance, good direction. But sometimes you got to sprint, right? And like, as long as we're moving in the right direction, I think that's where the mentorship and the guidance of this community has, because it doesn't matter how fast you get there if you're going in the wrong direction. So sometimes in our business, the basic stuff, the putting the offers and stuff of that nature, that's the steady state, the daily priorities like we talked about today. But sometimes you need energy behind the action. Sometimes you need to put that sprint into that. And that's what this is about. Rapids, sprinting. We have a very clear goal. That Millionaire Summit's getting closer. And for me, just to share my own, I'm in 1000% sprint mode. Up at 4:45 a.m. My schedule's locked, time blocked, prioritized, planned. I perform my best because I've got big, audacious goals. And like what Walter said, VIP, you're the only person that can move that needle. You are the only person that can wake up with the mindset, the strategy, and take the action needed. And that's what this is. This summit, it's an invitation for you to do something for yourself. The best investment is self-investment. And that's a conversation you have to have with yourself. Whatever level of ticket you have to go, you got to be there. Proximity is power. You've got to be at the summit, get around like-minded people. And like I said, yes, speaker, can't wait. But dude, as a student, I can't sleep. I'm so stoked what to learn. Just my shit.
Give Billy Root a round of applause. Dude, if I can cut in, I want to share. I also designed the summit so that I bring in speakers I want to listen to. So we're very clear.
All psychology students are like that. You don't go to psychology to fix other people. You go to fix yourself. So good job.
Let's get a story from somebody who went last year. Eric Florney, you're working right now, man. You're out there grinding. You got yourself out of the hotel, right? Like when we met at the summit, like we put you on stage, like you literally like, dude, like my life is not anywhere that belongs on a stage. So if you can just share, like, what have you accomplished over the last year? And I know it wasn't $1 million, and I think that's okay for everybody to acknowledge. But you've been pushing hard, man. So go ahead, Eric.
Excited, man. Always, and for the connection. More than anything, what I'm seeing now is where I wasn't. in terms of really seeing me and growing as an individual, and what's happening right now is I really had to brush a lot of stuff out of the way and reprioritize. And now it's less about networking. Yeah, like you said, we were in a hotel, and sleeping on top of each other, and that was a nightmare personified because we're talking about 4 individuals, actually it's people as a family, but 4 individuals over 6 feet in a shoebox. So we're grateful for that we have a home now for that, and just relationships is what I'm developing, with the Alchemist Nation. I mean, you can't put a dollar on that. It's priceless. There's limitless possibility in terms of growth that goes as far as the finances go. And I'm excited about that. But it was the connection and really establishing myself with, several different individuals. And I can go on the line of how you guys have really just kind of impressed upon me and pushing from there. But it was a big thing. It started with the emotional and the mental. That's where I'm going from there. In terms of dollars and cents, it's a lot of potential there. Nothing's come forth yet, but I'm looking forward to it, but I'm off to a great path and I'm just excited to be a part of it.
Hell yeah. Let's give Eric Floney a round of applause.
Yeah. I want you, Walter, to tell a story, but I have a very specific story I would like you to tell everybody because it actually was the most impactful thing at the Millionaire Summit to me. And that's when we had someone at the summit get in an accident and you were able to step in and help that person without hesitation, not worrying about whatever it was going to take to do, only because you are where you are right now. And a lot of us could not have done that. And I think that's a real reason, paying it back, paying it forward. You know what I'm talking about. Go ahead and, if you don't mind, sharing that story.
Yeah, so there was a woman who is pretty involved with the community, and so I won't share her name, but she was driving from where she lived to come to the summit, and on the way there, she got into an accident. She got into a pretty bad car accident, and one of our community members, Christy Martins, came to me I'm on stage, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I got off, and she told me, she said, "Look, this woman's not going to be able to make it. She needs to talk to you. And she also is going to need help because right now she's trying to get here still. She's trying to leave the hospital to come here. And she said, like, I have to be there because I made a promise to Walter that I would." And so Christy told me she needs to talk to you because she will not talk to anybody else. And she is coming to this summit regardless, because that's what you said successful people do. And she's committed to being successful. And I told Chris, as you get this woman on the phone, I don't care if I'm on stage, you get her on the phone, and it doesn't matter what time of day it is, just get her on the phone and I will talk to her. And when I spoke to her, I could hear her, she was sobbing, right? I could hear her intensity of like everything. She's scared, she's got cuts and she's injured and her car is totaled, but she's still trying to find a way to get to this event. And I told her, I said, we've got you. But furthermore, there are people in Orlando, because that's where she was right now. There are people in Orlando within our community who weren't able to be at the event, but we're going to make sure we reach out to them. They're going to go and be there with you. They're going to take care of you. And we had a series of people in the room with her every single day, making sure that she was okay. Alchemist Nation, right, showed up and we're there with her. And afterwards, when she flew back home, like she drove back home, she was driven by somebody else or flown by somebody else. They stayed in touch with her and kept an eye on her, and they were there as much as her family, because I made one simple ask. I just asked that you do that and we'll take care of the finances, whatever cost to get her on a plane, whatever cost it was. And I don't know the number, and the number doesn't matter, but it was somewhere between $2,500 and $5,000 I spent to make sure that she was okay. And Darina asked me, she's like, does it come out of Alchemist Nation? Does it come out of our account? And I said, it doesn't come out of ours or Alchemist Nation, it comes out of mine, because that's my opportunity to serve somebody who I made a commitment to. Nobody else made that commitment. I made that commitment. And that to me is one of the beauties of having money, of having worked hard, of being able to develop yourself, to develop your brand, to develop your business. When COVID hit, I was able to write checks to my family. Other people wrote sorry letters, wrote sorry texts. I wrote checks. My mother she lost her opportunity to work, and I sent her a check. My brother, his gym got shut down. Nobody could go to his gym. Nobody could go to his facility. I sent him a check. And I said, what do you need? Whatever it is. This is not a question of humility. This is a question of what does it take to get you by? And that check I will write, because I could, right? Because I became a man who can write the check. And I want each one of you to think about what it would feel like what it would be like to be that person in the moments when the world does crash, when the world does throw some really hard twists at a person's life. Can you be the one who writes the check? I remember first time I wrote a check like this, it was only $1,000, but I didn't have the $1,000. It was one of my employees. I had a property manager. Her daughter died from an overdose, because I come from a city where overdosing was pretty common. And her daughter died. They couldn't afford the funeral costs. And I said, well, do a GoFundMe and I'll contribute. Whatever everybody else contributes, I'll contribute. She did a GoFundMe. $175 is what everybody she knew contributed to her daughter no longer being alive. And so I wrote the check. I asked, what does it cost? And she said, it's $900. So I wrote $1,000 check. And she said, she knew my finances because she was my assistant. She knew my finances. She said, you don't have that. And so I don't, but I'll go get it, because I know you don't have it and you don't have the ability to get it that I do. That confidence that comes from knowing how to do what we do gives you the ability to help others who don't have that same ability. Show fans, if you understand, there's a world out there who doesn't have this confidence, doesn't have the skill set, doesn't have this ability to increase income the way we do. So I want to thank Stephen for sometimes I don't share these stories. Thank you for bringing that out, man. You're right. That's what hyper focus does. Gives you the ability to help others.
Big, huge round of applause for Walter. Not just for being Walter. It wasn't for the money. It's just for being Walter. This is the truth. Nice. Walter, we are at 10:08. I will give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
All right. In that case, look, you know the deal. We're here to change the world, but it's got to start with your life. It's got to start with your mindset. You've got to take on the challenge of shifting those things that have been holding you back. Analysis paralysis, it is not the demon, it is not the devil. It is coming from thinking too much. You're too smart to be successful, so I'm going to ask you to dumb it down a little bit. I'm going to ask you to be the child, like the Bible says, go back to being the inner child. Go back to being the person who just plays the game of life instead of looking at life as a hard, difficult challenge, thing to be figured out. The answers are within. You have the answers here within Alchemist Nation. You have the ability to ask us questions, text us. If you put it in the comments, on my comments for Alchemist Nation, I am in those every single day, every single hour is my absolute commitment to making sure that this community is responded to. Now, the DM is hard for me because of one thing. It's not scalable. So if you direct message me, I can't, the whole world doesn't see that. So I'm not serving at a highest level. So I put my DM on the back end. But if you send a comment, or please, by the way, do ask questions, do engage in the comments, because the more you engage, the more other people see, the more other people are able to interact, and the algorithm pushes us. So your challenge, your desire to be better, and your desire to interact increases your impact as a human being on this planet. Show fans to understand, action breeds action. Results breed the next level of results. Hyper focus for the next 30 days. I'm going to ask you to do something that I'm going to do as well. And you can hold me accountable to it. The next 30 days, I have no days off. The next 30 days, I am a soul on fire. I'm here to create energy. I'm here to solve problems. Me and my entire team, we've made a solemn swear. We've made a commitment to make sure we're reaching out, to make sure we're texting, make sure we're calling. If we do not touch you in the next 24 hours, please touch us first. Get back to us. Let us know we dropped the ball. Let us know we haven't hit what we're supposed to be hitting. But we are absolutely committed to pushing into this community the inspired tools, the inspired path to make sure that you can get to your goals. Show fans, if you're understanding this level of commitment, it's 30 days of no days off. When we talk about the weekends, we're talking about strong ends, baby. We don't know what it's like to be weak. We're Alchemist Nation, right? We have a small, short distance for the summit. Before we get there, we've got to increase our income. We've got to increase our brand. There are other people who need to know about you, what you do, how you serve, who you are, how much you care about them. There are people's problems that you did not create that you still must solve. Show fans, if you understand that we solve other people's problems at a profit. We're entrepreneurs, we're real estate investors, we're professionals, we're business owners. This is what we do. We've got to go fix some things in the world. The world is pretty fucked up right now. But I'm not going to lie to you. Nobody is fixing it. You've got to be the one. So I'm going to ask, be seen, be known, make 1 post a day. Facebook told me I got to make 4 posts a day. That's what they told me. They said, you want to not be a piece of shit, Walter, you got to make 4 posts a day. That's what they told me. Facebook said it. You know, that's what it said when it says, if you want more engagement, this is what they told me. You want more engagement on your profile, we will give you more engagement. This is a Facebook saying this to every one of you right now. If you want more engagement, you got to make 4 posts a day. I said, damn, I know I'm supposed to help more people. I got to be seen. I got to be known. So I'm going to put the challenge out to each one of you. Go be seen, be known, make a text post, make a picture post, tell a story, drop a story video out there. I don't care if you're working out every day. I don't care if you're walking every day. Just 15 seconds of you doing it, drop music behind it. It looks sick. And then make sure you do a reel every day. Reels are harder. I'll be real. I got to do a reel every day. That would be at the end of this next 30 days, 120 posts that you've made on our way to the 100 Millionaire Summit. That's 120 times that you show up in the people you care about's feed, talking about the thing you do best, talking about how you want to help more people. Show of hands if you do commit to helping more people this year. Then, my friend, let's go the next 30 days like a couple of souls on fire, like a couple of crazy nuts who are just letting everybody know what we do, how we do it, and why we do what we do. Show of hands if you commit to helping more people. Well, in that case, cheers to your success. We have a choice. Always work with the best. We can say that right. When you have a choice, always work with the best. Let's give everybody on this call a big round of applause. I'll see you next week. Go give somebody your millionaire path, right? Send a text. Let somebody know this is how you get your millionaire report. Go ahead, Eric.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Hey, and I'm committing. We will have some numbers by the time you see me.
Let's go, man. I'll see you in 33 days, brother.
Yes, sir.